Welcome to the Explore Words, Discover Worlds podcast, presented by Bradford Literature Festival. In this episode, we welcome one of Pakistan's most beloved and multifaceted public figures, Vasay Chaudhry, best known for writing sitcoms, comedy dramas and films. Recorded live at the 2023 Bradford Literature Festival, Vasay shares captivating stories from his life, bringing his renowned warmth, charm and charisma to your ears.
Hello and Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Bradford Literature Festival. Thank you very much. My job today is to just basically ask a few questions and then open it up to the audience, because obviously no one's really interested in what I have to say, thankfully. We're all here to see this gentleman. I'll just give you a little bit of a brief introduction, just for those people who don't know who he is, which I'm be surprised, because I'm sure you're avid fans and know everything about him. But Vasay Chaudhry is a Pakistani screenwriter, actor, director, producer, host and comedian. There you go. Now, when we talk, we'll talk about some of these kind of films, but such as the films that you had, which is actually gross, is it over 700 million rupees worldwide in sales, which is a fantastic achievement. As well as all of that, as well as being this great film screenwriter and filmmaker and actor, etc., as you know, he is the host of the comedy show Mazakarat on Dunya News, and you've been doing that since 2015. So I think that's all I need to say, and I'm just going to crash into the first question and say, so Vasay, thank you for coming today and sharing a little bit about your kind of like your journey with us. Now, your family are firmly entrenched in the entertainment industry, aren't they?
Sorry?
Your family,
yeah,
they're firmly entrenched in the entertainment industry.
They were entrenched in it from a very business side of it. Like, you know, they were into running a cinema house and a couple of cinema houses and a studio at one point in time. So it was purely a sort of a financial transaction sort of angle to it, not the creative side of it. Mm-hmm. Although my grandfather at one point in time did get into the producer's mode, but I think which is back in 50s, but I think it was again also a very financial angle to it, not as per se a creative angle to it. So in that way I have been...
But they had a very famous cinema.
Yeah, that was again a part of business. Like, you know, it's like if someone owns a restaurant and their third generation, someone becomes a chef. So that's because my dada owned a restaurant. So, you know, I just saw chefs and then I one day wanted to be a chef. So it's
what made you want to get into the industry?
I didn't know anything else.
Yeah?
Okay. I didn't know how
But at what age, though, were you?
Sorry?
What age were you when you
I did my theatre, I started theatre when I was 18. That was the first time I actually got into. Before that, it was just watching a lot of Pakistani cinema for free. I think that kind of did the trick. That at that time, a lot of kids in Pakistan from the school that I was studying in or where I used to live, they were not into watching Pakistani films because that sect of the society had kind of disconnected from cinema. They would just watch TV. I, by default, had that chance where I could go to a cinema hall and watch those Sultan Rahi movies. Now, there might be, you know, if you think about it, people, that is usually the era that people make fun of in terms of Pakistani cinema, the Sultan Rahi era. But what I observed was the way you're supposed to handle the psyche of 600-700 people sitting in a hall. How do you psych up 600-700 people? Now, maybe the directors of that time were doing it in Punjabi films and for a completely different strata of our society, but the trick remains the same. Which I later realized when I got into this line of work myself. I thought about it, and I remember once I was 10, 12 years back, I was giving a lecture in this Beacon National University in Lahore to these filmmaking students, and at that point I took out these 3 clips from 3 different genres of cinema. One was a clip from Hollywood, one was a clip from an Indian film, and one was a clip from a Pakistani film. And they were like 60, 70, you know, kids, filmmaker kids who were taking that lecture. And I showed them that there was a scene in Pirates of the Caribbean where there's this monster on the ship and he's trying to take over, and Johnny Depp has deserted everyone and he has gone off. I don't know which part it was of Pirates, but he has left and he's gone off, and the heroine and Orlando Bloom are fighting the monster, and everyone is trying to get rid of it. And eventually, at one point when Orlando Bloom is about to be eaten or whatever by the monster, there comes Johnny Depp again. It was the same applause moment that Hollywood created. Then I picked up a film, Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, in which you must be remembering all of that scene where Jaya Bahadri is sitting and doing her puja, and a chopper starts coming, and you know Shah Rukh Khan is approaching. And the moment when she does, and wo hawa chalti hai, and you know, there's silence and the music stops, and then she looks back and Shah Rukh Khan approaches. Applause moment. Then, same thing. A woman is running in the field, and there are these goons who are trying to rape her, and she goes to the village and is trying to ask for help. No one is helping her. Everyone is scared of the goons because they are the, main villains. And she is then howling and screaming that, oh God, is there no one left in Pakistan, or not for that matter, not just Pakistan. Our women have a ability to challenge the whole of Islam. So like in Punjabi, I still remember as a kid, she said, "Koi duniya ch Musliman nahi bachega jehda bhain nu bacha sake." So she said that, and then there's no one coming. So eventually the villains are mocking her, and they're like, you will do this, you will do that. And one of the villain snatches her dupatta and he throws it up in the air. I still remember that scene. The dupatta, in a very badly shot, edited way, goes, which is not even gelling with the scene. Yeah. It's a different shot that goes of dupatta. And Akhil, I remember the dupatta goes like this, and I still remember there was 700 men, not even women, men sitting in that hall. It was an Eid day in Sheikhupura. I was watching this film. I, of course, was watching it for free. And the dupatta came, and this hand came, and it just held the dupatta. I kid you not, I saw 700 men erupt in screams. And the curses that they used, I cannot repeat those, for those villains at that point in time. And as a kid, I was amazed. I was like, what is this phenomena? And there was that hand was Sultan Rais. Just the point that, these are the same tricks of psyching up the audience are used all over the world. So, as coming back to your original point, that is one thing that I learned from Pakistani cinema, which Netflix doesn't teach you, which no OTT teaches you, which television doesn't teach you. The psyche of a television, I believe, is different. The psyche of cinema is different. Television is where you can stop something, you can forward something, you can go eat, do something else, whatever you want to do, it's waiting. You can download something, stop it at your will. You can't do that in cinema. Cinema is about you preparing yourself to go out of your houses, take that drive or take that, cover that distance, and then sit in that cinema hall and then collectively watch something. That psyche is very different.
Well, let's pick up on that then, because obviously, without getting too technical, you have to excuse me, I'm a professor of media, so I might go down a rabbit hole that nobody else wants to listen to. But if that's the case, then has your work changed in a world where people actually are not necessarily going to the cinema anymore? If you look at the data, particularly in this country, and you look at the data, cinemas are empty. I have a monthly pass to the cinema in Bradford here. I'm often the only person, or there's about 3 people in the screening. So there's no one, but films are being made, they're being streamed, so you can pause, you can fast forward. People are watching things on their phones, God forbid. They're doing all of these things now. Has that had an effect, and will it have an effect on the work that you do then? Because what you're talking about is a world which still exists in Pakistan, but it may not exist globally.
Okay, so that this phenomena that you're talking about is very recent, post-COVID, okay? At the same time, if you see the numbers that are coming in from China and India, they are not the same as the ones that you're giving example of in terms of West. Whether it's UK, Europe, US, Canada, maybe cinema is going down, but in China it's picking up. If you see the recent statistics, they are on 60, 70,000 screens of their own, just in China. And their prediction for the next 10 years is mind-boggling. India, on the other hand, suffered in 2021 and 2022 to get their audiences back. But then there are films like RRR, which are, getting crazy numbers in cinema. So what I feel now, Akhil, that might be sort of an evolution. That is certain, you will not go to the cinema to watch every film. There are ideas that people have now kind of spotted that this is okay as far as it is OTT. But then if it's Marvel, we want to go to the cinema. You don't want to watch Iron Man on your OTTs. You want to, or maybe later at a later stage you will watch it, you won't mind it, but the first experience you want to have it in cinema. So I think that way it's like a sort of a demarcation that has been done. That certain films you're going to watch. Earlier what I feel, every film was taking the leeway of being watched in cinema. After COVID, I think that angle has changed.
So at the moment, you're not factoring in the fact that people may approach the films differently than what they
are approaching, but I feel...
you're not factoring it in yet for your work because of the audience.
I feel that they are going to, of course, because they've seen so much content in the last 3 years.
Exactly.
Unwantingly also they have seen so much content. So a lot of average content has gotten neutralized. That's my way of looking at it. Like people have gotten that sensibility that this idea is worth, one evening at home. We don't need to, burn the gas, go there, buy popcorns and all. Best we can, get the popcorns from the store and, get it done. And that, I think that sort of sensibility these guys have gotten now. That is my take. I feel like that. Because otherwise you see these films like RRR and then recent times Maula Jat. I mean, they have gone to see Maula Jat all over. Let it be Pakistan, let it be UK, let it be America. Why did they go? They could have waited for OTT. Because they just couldn't get the replication of that experience that they got in the cinema.
And it's a shared experience as well.
Yeah, and the film was specifically made for cinema. I know the team, I've been working with those guys. They, from day one, that man imagined only cinema. Every dialogue, every sync of it, every music style, it was all designed for cinema. He never thought that I want to go for OTT. So that is what I'm saying. Coming back to that cinema psyche. I mean, he is also actually, both his films, Maula Jat and Before That War, were a byproduct of that cinema psyche. He wanted to psych you up collectively in a cinema hall.
And if you go back to the start then, obviously, you start off by writing plays.
I started off with theatre. Then from theatre I moved to television, and then I wrote television for...
How difficult was the jump?
Very.
Yeah?
Because
how did you go from theatre to television?
I did a play in theatre, which again I didn't want to write, but I had to write because no other writer was there to write it. So a mentor, sort of friend of mine, he pushed me into it that bhai koi nahi likh raha, khud hi likho. And I respected him too much to, kind of counter question him. So I was like, okay. So then I still remember that is how I started writing in theatre. Luckily that idea got clicked in the, underground theatre circle, and then we made a television play out of it, which was Jat and Bond. And from there I wrote television for 11 years continuously. And then I wrote...
Was it different? Because obviously, what you can do on theatre, on stage, is often very different.
Yeah, I didn't know anything about writing, honestly. I didn't know anything about writing. He literally taught me how to, that you write scene, characters. I had no idea about that basic stuff even. That mentor of mine is Zain Ahmed. He's the son of our famous Pakistani actress Samina Ahmed ji. Her son. He literally taught me. And that is how I got into television. And then I guess, I had my luck in television. Eventually then, 2012-13, I wrote my first feature film,
Well, that must have been. So what gave you the opportunity to write the feature film? Was it the fact that you had such a run of, you're very modest, but it was a run of success of dramas and long-form
I'll tell you,
television
actually,
films?
when I wrote my first feature films in Pakistan had really taken a hit. No one was doing that. And at that time, Humayun Saeed wanted to make a film. So he asked me, and he knew me before that. And like the way I'm talking to you, he knew that I always used to have these conversations about Pakistani cinema and everything. So he offered me one day that, I'm going to make this film, you want to write it? And I had literally like 5 seconds to decide. I just said yes. I didn't talk to him about money. I didn't talk about anything. This film story idea was also, they had already made it. So I just took it from that, and then I wrote the screenplay and whatever I could do with it. So that is how I started writing my first film.
But do you obviously, you had a mentor who helped you to make the leap from theatre to television. How did you make? Did you just do it yourself? The leap from television to film? Because obviously, again, it's a completely different genre.
It was an opportunity that came my way, and I just grabbed it.
Yeah.
And of course, deep down, I always wanted to write films.
Yeah.
I think that when I saw the opportunity, I just grabbed it, and then whatever, then other films happened later. So. For me, it was just an opportunity that came, thank God, at that time.
And tell us about the films, because they're particularly, there's 2 of them which are incredibly well received and actually broke box office records in Pakistan and abroad.
Yeah, at that time, actually, I think, we, me and my director kind of at times think about it, that what happened with those films, because we were not expecting what happened. And we came to the conclusion that actually, the audiences were not expecting this from a Pakistani film. They got surprised.
But what was it they weren't expecting? What did
they weren't
get?
expecting a Pakistani film that looked production-wise as good as an Indian film, and it was more funnier.
What? Better written?
Huh?
Better written?
Sorry?
Better written.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, because they always used. I remember. I'll give you an example over here. I remember. I don't sound, this might sound very immodest of me, but I will just experience a very personal thing. I remember there was this film, Akshay Kumar's film, that I was watching in a cinema in Pakistan, and my mother really loves Sing is King and all that. So I also, Hera Pheri and Sing is King and all, Akshay Kumar is very good. There was this one film that I was watching, and I remember मैं cinema में देख रहा हूँ, and houseful था. And people were laughing on that film. I also laughed, but they were laughing more. So, मैं थोड़ा conscious भी हूँ. So, I was watching, and my wife was laughing, and पता नहीं और मेरे friends laugh कर रहे हैं. And I somehow said this in my heart that I can make them laugh more. I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
Because I had seen Pakistani comedy films in cinema back in the 90s, which were very funny. There was this one film in particular, Chor Machaye Shor. It was a ridiculously funny film. And I remember, and then after that there was a discontinuation of Pakistani films. So when I saw this, I remember, I was like, dude, I've seen a funnier film than this. But these guys are laughing at this, like this. So what if they actually get a bigger dosage? It was sort of, I didn't say it to anyone.
Yeah.
I this share it with anyone. This was like an inward kind of a voice that I had. Okay, I can make them laugh more. So then when I wrote Jawani Phir Nahi Aani, to be honest with you, I gave it my best shot. I was like, to hell with these guys. Either I'm going to go die trying, but I'm going to make them laugh. And I'm going to show them that what is it when Pakistani humor hits you. Because I'll tell you, I've had a very basic theory long time back. You love Messi. Your kids love Messi. Your kids love Ronaldo. Whenever he's playing for a team, you'll always, if you're a Messi or a Ronaldo fan, you will, cheer for him that go Messi, go Ronaldo. But it will only happen till the day he's not playing against the Pakistan team. The day a Pakistan team comes in, even if it is as bad as it is, you will still want to, cheer for that Pakistan team. So I've had this thing that the day you guys get a good film that you can own up, you will take it all the way. And that is exactly what happened with Jawani Phir Nahi Aani 1 and 2. The moment they saw that the quality was matching and it was a content that they were not expecting, better or not, that is relative, that is. But I think the visual quality was there and then they were not expected, they were taken by surprise. So they just went haywire with it.
Oh, and how did you get the visual quality then? What changed to make
The production side, I think,
But was it already? No, but was it there already?
It was there, but we never used to use it for Pakistani cinema. We had just started using it. So, a film that was shot on the same camera as you use anywhere in the world, editing, the production-wise, making it look larger, frames are bigger because, of course, that takes in money. I think that was very, very, very well dealt by Nadeem Beg and Humayun Saeed. Did you shoot it on, sorry, a bit of a technical question, but it'll help the next question. Did you shoot it on film or digital? I think digital.
Digital, that right. I thought that was the case. That was I went to watch lots of Pakistan, the resurgence in Pakistani cinema over the last 10 years. I've seen a lot of films. And the expert in me knows that obviously it's digital cameras. And, do you think that leap in technology, because it's cheaper, obviously, than previous, but actually it has enabled people to actually make things look beautiful, because they do look beautiful.
Yeah, they look, but Akil, even for that, you need to put in a lot of money. I mean, the camera is there.
When I say cheaper, I mean,
artwork has to be there. So those things, when you hire the right people, then they would give you the desired result. That thing was not there earlier in Pakistani cinema. It used to be very sort of, get it over with kind of an affair. So I think that those were little things. Of course, there are technicalities people wouldn't know, but those things were very well assembled.
And in terms of ideas then, what kind of ideas for the dramas that you're writing, for the films, etc., what kind of ideas excite you?
I can't put my finger on this. Honestly, I can't.
Try.
I mean, it depends on whatever brainwave that I'm experiencing at that time. I mean, I can write a Jawani Phirni Aani, but then I can do something like Jackson Heights as well, which has got nothing to do with humor. It's about expats living in the States, New York. I wrote that play, and a lot of people to date don't know that I wrote that play because of the other work that I do regularly, which is...
Well, what made you want to write Jackson Heights then? Because obviously that must have been a bit of a passion play, or was it just something you just saw a gap in the market?
No. I'll tell you. Actually, Mehreen Jabbar, the director of the play, discussed this idea, and then I discussed something. I was like, I've had this story, and then we both kind of, back and forth, the way it works. And I just liked the idea. I just wanted to. I was just talking to you earlier to someone else over here that I get intrigued by people who live abroad, because they experience so many new things. New life, new home, new place, new culture, new religion, so there's so many things coming in. So that used to always, and then the idea that you have to live somewhere and leave your birthplace, for maybe economical reasons, cultural reasons, or whatever reasons, personal reasons, that intrigued me as a writer. And then when this opportunity came, so that was a completely passion project for me and Mehreen, and it is something that, coming back to your thing, I don't know, I can't tell. At the same time, I can write something like Dolly Ki Aayegi Barat, which is, that tells you, so, that is something that is completely, different from a Jackson Height.
Yeah.
So I can never put my finger on what I want to write.
Well, tell us about the process for both of those then.
Which one?
Well, Jackson Heights and Yvonne. How do you...
Jackson Heights, interestingly, actually, I'll tell you, I wrote that play in 2013, and I went to America for the first time in my life in 2016. I had never been to... a lot of people don't believe this, but I actually had been beyond Dubai till 2016. America was in 2016, and then I didn't go to Jackson at that time. I went to Jackson in 2017. I just wanted to see the place. मैंने कहा इतना कुछ लिख दिया, कुछ देख भी लो जाके. जगह है कैसी?
Well, how was it then?
Yeah, it was...
Having written something...
Yeah, actually it was very interesting because I just went over there and I just, walked, and I just wanted to walk, and then people came, so, that idea of walking in seclusion was not there, so I had to run off. But it was interesting because at that time, I think when I wrote the play 2012, I had to go through a lot of research. Google, thank you, helped a lot. I used it extensively. Then, Mehreen used to make videos, and then pictures used to come to me, so many pictures and so many videos, just for me to get the feel. And I used to ask her कि मुझे और videos भेजो so I can get a feel of the way people live over there. Then going through pictures, imagination, God knows what all. Similarly, in a play that I did, which was Annie Ki Aayegi Barat, I did a character in it. I acted in it, one of the parts as well. I did a character of a guy who is from England, and is British born, and yeah.
You might have a few fans in the room.
Yeah.
Just in case you weren't aware, you may have a few fans.
So that character, I'll tell you interestingly, I did that in 2011, and I came to England for the first time in 2017. I had never been to UK, and I remember Behroz Sabzwari Sahab, he called me after that one episode ran, and he was like, यार वो मेरी बहन के बच्चे वहाँ रहते हैं वो बिल्कुल ऐसे ही हैं. तो मैंने कहा अच्छा जी, तो कहते ये तुमने ये कितने तुम मिले हुए उन लोगों से? तो मैंने उनको बताया, मैंने कहा behroz bhai, I've never been to England. झूठ बोल रहा है तू, अब तू ड्रामे कर रहा है मेरा. मैं कहा I swear you can see my passport. They've never given me a visa. I've never been. So again, a lot of research had to go in. You know, I used to call, because I have a lot of cousins, by the way, second cousins, third cousins, because my mother is from Jhelum. So you can imagine. बस सोच ले गल मुक गई है. तो मेरे बहुत से वो हैं, तो I used to talk to people, you know, then again pictures and visual enhancement, and then you know, references. So a lot of work goes into this.
But it's still a big leap, isn't it? Writing about another culture that you've never experienced.
That's the fun part.
No, it's fun, don't get me wrong, but actually it's not easy.
Yeah, so exactly, I'm telling you, like, you know, I had to do whatever research tools that I had at my disposal, whether it was asking people for help, talking to them, or getting, you know, as I said, pictures, videos, reading articles. Like I remember in Jackson Heights' first episode, there was this whole episode was around that Eid has come, and Numan Ijaz Saab was he was the main lead character. He takes all these Indians and Pakistanis cab drivers to watch a film. And it's an Indian film that he's making them watch, and it was in a cinema. Now, that cinema, I don't remember the name, but that cinema actually is still in Jackson Heights. I didn't know. But, you know, that kind of research that I did just to make it look kind of authentic, that there is that place, that cinema actually exists over there, and on the occasion of Eid, you know, Indians and Pakistanis go and watch cinema. So, you know, you do these kind of tricks, and imagination, I guess, comes into play.
But that's when it works. I mean...
Of course, when it doesn't work, that is also... You see, that the best part about any movie, series, whatever you want, and this happens to me as well, and I question it at times, that when you watch something and you say, yaar, badi buri film thi yaar. Abhe kya bura drama tha. And then think about it, इन्होंने उतनी मेहनत से बनाया जितना कि जो आपको अच्छा लगा था वो बनाया था. So this is again, you know, it can go either way. Interestingly, Jackson Heights didn't work as a commercial project when it was aired. And that is one project that I keep getting the most feedback of. And interestingly,
was it too early?
I don't know whether it was too early or whether it was not commercial enough for people.
When you say commercial, do you mean in Pakistan?
Yeah, in Pakistan. Yeah, it was not a commercial success in Pakistan.
They weren't as interested in the lives and loves and
No,
tribulations
yeah, they weren't. Maybe
they
weren't. Maybe because I had like all the characters. If you ever see that play, there were two male characters in it. The main leads, Adil Hussain and Numan Ijaz played those. They were very grey characters. I didn't do black or white. कि ये अच्छा बेटा है, ये बुरा ससुर है, ये अच्छा दामाद है, ये बुरा दामाद है, ये वो. I didn't do that. We as humans, I believe, are mostly grey now in a lot of things in our lives. So my interpretation was sort of that. And I guess people didn't really commercially, it wasn't that successful, but I keep on getting feedback of that.
What do people say? It represents my life, or I loved it?
I'll get a lot of messages from fans in India or Indians who live abroad, and they're like, we saw and it is so relatable and all that. I guess they can relate to something in it.
In terms of, would you do that again? Not necessarily
Not
maybe
the
in
same
Jackson Heights.
No. Yeah.
Would you do it again, say in the UK?
Yeah.
Somewhere?
I think
'Cause was
UK, I find it to be so interesting. I mean, although I didn't come till 2016, 2017, I have not been to UK, but ever since then, I have been here like maybe a dozen times now. I always love being in UK because I feel that UK, I'm not really a fan of US.
Okay. You can say that in this room. It's fine.
I can say it in this room, but then I realize that it might be, some clip might get out.
Yeah.
US
Oh,
I'm not talking about the US fans. I'm just talking in terms of geography.
You may want to apply for your visa before this gets published. Yeah.
Actually, I've just that coming up as well. So I just realized. But no, I'll tell you, it's kind of midway from Pakistan. So 8 hours is doable. 14 घंटे में तो दिमाग ही बंद हो जाता है बंदे का. एक तो वो, and otherwise I find America is too big. It's too intimidating. People say they love New York. मैं तो न्यूयॉर्क जाके I was like, यार you गर्दन ही हो जाती बंदे की. सब ऊपर आपको देखना कर. UK I find is like a good version of Islamabad. There's greenery, there is buildings that are not very big, like 3-4 floors, and okay, you're good.
And we have the corruption now as well. In this country. In the UK, we have corruption now to make you feel even more... Sorry, I shouldn't say that.
Well, what were you expecting? Look at the number that we have over here.
We've got Asian politicians, maybe. Anyway,
yes, excuse me.
Maybe I should stop while I'm ahead, but yes.
It had to get to this point. I mean, you guys are late, just in case you didn't realize. We didn't want to bring it up.
Right, how to say, the empire eventually strikes back. But sorry, you casually dropped in earlier on that I acted in this, I acted in that. I mean, it's not a casual thing to suddenly be an actor.
I have been acting and writing from my first play.
Yeah.
Since 2000. So I always kind of...
Always were dabbling in acting, but not necessarily. But you've done a lot of acting. Yeah.
I don't do one thing a lot because then I get bored.
Yeah.
I just don't like to do writing only because then I find my writing to be boring, and same is the case with acting. So I kind of...
How do you write? Because I'm working with someone now, and this guy he has 5 or 6 different places where he goes writing every day. One day he'll write at home, the next day he's booked a desk in an office, the next day he'll go to his father's house, because he doesn't want to sit in the same place because he feels it makes him stale. Does that work for you, or do you just sit at home and then it just comes out by magic?
No, Akhil, now I wait for the magic and some, silence, and because now with, life has become much more, there are too many distractions, so it becomes difficult to focus. So I just look for that alone, silent time wherever I can get it, and hopefully if it's in a place where I am comfortable, that's a bonus.
And of course, so you've done the acting, the writing, etc., all those things, incredible, award-winning, blockbusters, and then you end up presenting a satirical comedy night show.
Yeah.
Again, you're probably going to say you didn't intend to do it and you fell into it. But was it that simple?
I used to do a lot of award show hostings, like, there were the big awards in Pakistan, Lux Style Award, Airway Awards, Hum Awards. So I used to do that, and then this gig fell into my lap, literally. I would not, this came out of nowhere because a gentleman earlier used to do that, and then when he left, then I was approached, and I did it, and I think it just worked.
But how did you make the leap into, did you just treat it as an acting, or was it just a case of, I'm just going to be myself?
Because I think I am a good listener. And I'm always kind of interested in, other people's lives. I think being a writer, that helped me, and then had a slight interest in politics as well. So I kind of managed to gel the two. Because usually I realize that politicians are always, we see them in these hardcore political shows where they're fighting with another politician.
Or shouting.
Or shouting, whatever, according to the nature of the day. But I just was like, okay, let's ask the politician, what do you do in your free time? And you'll be surprised, in my 8 years, what I learned was that they actually have never thought of this question. Because no one asks them. You always ask them about, aapke leader ne ye kiya, aapke usne ye kiya, ye kiya. वो बेचारे से कोई पूछता ही नहीं है.
What does Imran Khan do in his spare time then?
Would not go there, but neither have I.
I wasn't thinking anything.
I have not been able to ask him as well. I've not interviewed Mr. Khan or Mr. Nawaz Sharif, but otherwise I'm just talking. You know, MPs, MNAs, you know, they. So I think that just kind of, you know, you just kind of treat them in a humanized way, and then talk about the politics in a humanized way as well.
So what are they doing in the spare time? Counting their cash?
No, they actually, no, I'll tell you, this is also very interesting that a lot of them haven't had the opportunity to make that cash. I'll give you a simple statistic. Back home in Pakistan, there are maybe 350 or some MNAs, you know, in the parliament. You will not know the name of 70 to 80% of them. Oh, yeah. Because they never become the minister even. So with the ones who don't become the ministers or chairing some high-end committee, they don't get the opportunity to actually make that kind of money. They just get No, but you need to have an opportunity to make money. No?
Of course.
I mean, you just an MNA who is from some South Punjab region, who has not gotten any ministry, who has not gotten anything. What has he been able to do? The maximum he has been able to do is get 2 transfers of some police guy transferred or some inspector transferred from his thana, and that's it. He is still doing the old farming business that he was already doing before becoming MNA. So, but because of the generalization that we have around the other main prominent people that we see on TV, the politicians, we kind of sweep everyone in that same go. That politician, so he is making money. Whereas I have seen those, they bicharas don't make money. They actually put in money on the election and then they wait, kya hoga?
No, I know. One of my uncles is the M&A for Pesachbar.
Okay.
In Urdu Bazaar, yeah.
So, you know...
So I know, yeah.
Yeah, it did
got a lot of money, but maybe it was through business. Now, I just wanted to ask you about the... tell us a bit about the show, because obviously it's a satirical comedy show. How hard is it to do satire in Pakistan?
Yeah, it's hard and it's not so hard.
Right.
It's hard if you are being biased. Okay. And then there are 2-3 things that you really can't go towards if you don't do that. And it's not hard because I say it's not hard because if you're smart, then you can get your way around it. That's what I've always believed. Yeah. I have always had a very self-censored kind of thing inside me. There are a couple of things that I will not talk about, that I will not joke about. And that has been not just with this show, even my work otherwise, you know, whatever body of work as a writer I've had in television and in films, I will not, you know, you will not find...
You will not find... Censorship, it doesn't seem to sit with, you know...
No, it sits with me, I'll tell you. I don't have any... this was a very, very sort of a deliberate decision that I made. I don't want to go into something extremely bold in terms of sexuality.
Okay.
And visually trying to attract people through sexuality. That is something that I didn't. You know, I mean, I will not make a 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay.
I'm very clear I don't want to. I have to watch my stuff with my mother and my sister and my daughters. I don't want to do that. I know. I'll tell you, I am not in LA. I am from Pakistan.
Yeah.
And my closest countries to me are China and India. I don't even have America as a next door neighbor. So...
I mean, that's probably less sense... When you think of the classical definition of censorship, that's less, I suppose, self-censorship.
Now, the other side
that's
is
more
that
a case of
if
I
can talk about something
framework,
politically, okay? So there I have done my share of pangas.
Right.
But as I said, I have done them smartly. People usually in that region in Asia, I feel, when they talk about being bold, they go towards sexuality.
Yeah, yeah.
They don't go in... You will never find House of Cards in Pakistan or in India. I am the sort of person I would love to do House of Cards. Let's get bold then.
Yeah. But
that is my perspective.
Yeah. But when you're doing the satirical show, is it with what's going on in Pakistan right now? How do you toe that line? Because obviously there's such polarization in society.
Yeah, it's becoming more and more difficult, but I have had my ways. I mean, whatever, because satirical is, you don't go way over the line. And you don't show that you're biased. unfortunately, I feel in Pakistani media right now, what has happened is, in news media, there are a lot of news anchors and journalists, they became biased. Staying neutral is the most difficult thing. They chose the easy way out. And that is why I've made jokes on People's Party. I've made jokes and skits on Mr. Zardari. I've made jokes on Mr. Nawaz Sharif Sahab, Mr. Imran Khan Sahab, Usman Buzdar Sahab, Pervez Elahi. While they were all in power, mind you, I've done that. They've been all in power and we have done that. But of course, I've never gone way beyond the line where it becomes offensive. But at the same time, using the, yardstick of satire and trying to convey the message somehow.
And do you think that actually the audience, one of the problems, I suppose, in this country particularly, it's not in America as well, but in this country we have a lot of regulation. So I'm on the board of I'm on the advisory board of Ofcom, which is the people who regulate television and broadcasting and the media in this country. But we don't have, but you wouldn't be allowed to have the kind of biasness that you're talking about.
No, well, we have not had we have had that biasness, and now for the last 2 months, it's a totally different media in Pakistan. You can't say so much.
No, that's all.
So it has come down to that.
How's that going to affect you then?
I'm still trying to find my way around it.
Yeah? I mean, does somebody come and knock on the door, or do you self-censor, or does the producer say, maybe we shouldn't do that? How does it work? I'm just interested how it works.
No, you don't get a knock on the door. You just get a call.
Yeah.
Unknown number.
I mean, obviously...
Private caller calling.
Yeah. So that private caller calling, who hypothetically now, obviously, right? Who would that private caller calling
I have
be?
no idea.
Not for you, but you may have heard from other people.
Yeah, I have not gotten a call because I don't do such things. I'm a good boy. Secondly, I've always heard this private, and actually it's funny, there are a lot of things that I'll tell you. There's this general phenomena that you keep on hearing. I'm sure all of you people from Pakistan, they say Lafafa, Sahafi, and all those things. I get called as well at times, whereas tweet something, they write something like that. And I've addressed this so many times in my show as well, that where is that Lafafa?
Yeah.
For once, I've asked, on my show I've said, I've asked Mr. Imran Khan, Mr. Nawaz Sharif, anyone to please send me one Lafafa at least. वो ये कहते हैं एटलीस्ट मैं कसम उठान जोगाते हुआ कि मैं वेख्या तो है हमेशा आई हैव ऑलवेज बीन लिसनिंग व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप्स लफाफास either I'm not cool enough to get that or to be put into one of those groups, but I have not never been offered one, and I feel really bad about it. I've been doing a show for 8 years and I have, mashallah, a vast number of people watch the show. Dude, where is the lafafa?
I know. I feel for you. I had one meeting in Pakistan and was given a corrupt deal.
Really?
Yeah. And I won't even tell, it was right at the top. I went to see somebody else. And I came out of a meeting and I'd realised I'd been offered the most corrupt deal on the planet and didn't ever go back again. And I'm sorry to break it to you. The lafafas are out there. You've just got to be looking better.
I need to go with you now.
But so we're going to come to an end soon in a minute, so they can ask some questions.
Sure.
What's next? Apart from obviously leaving this
I'm
room.
going to go and sleep.
Yeah.
I just came from a 15-hour flight. I landed at 7:30. Then I took the train and I came here at 10:40 and I'm here. So that's how much I love Bradford. You can imagine. So I am going to sleep after this.
Once you've woken up, career-wise, what's next?
Akhil, I don't know.
No?
I am working on a couple of things. Let's see. I have had this habit since the beginning. I don't really say with surety what is going to be next. Because I always believe that this is the kind of place where I might be thinking of a lot of things and they might not make it through.
Okay.
And then there might be something that you might see after some time and I was never planning it. And it has happened to me a lot of times.
Yeah. Well, that is true, and you've illustrated that for you. A lot of hard work as well, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you're very modest and very humble about it, but there's a lot of hard work. You don't just make those jumps and leaps and make it look easy.
You just wait for your luck, or whatever you want to call it. You just wait for God to be kind. Otherwise, I always say all this thing, you just have to be persistent. Otherwise, this talented and successful and everything, it's just relative and it's just time bound. Tomorrow I'll be the same guy, you will not be liking my work, and then, people will say, ab wo baat nahi rahi bhai. Whereas I'll be the same guy with the same thoughts, same personality. So it's all time. Today, it's the time where you guys are liking my work. Thank you to you and thankful. I am thankful to God always. But tomorrow when you won't, then that's also going to be a time. So then what is the point of me taking or, when I got that idea and, I knew this was in me and I'm so talented and no, I'm not. It's just time right now. And God is kind till time is like, chal, enjoy kar.
All right, so to wrap up then, if you had how do you want your legacy to be remembered? What is it? Is it one film?
I've never thought of that. Honestly, I've never thought of that.
Is it a body of work? If I was to put a gun to your head now, which could happen in Pakistan.
I just want...
But and even in Bradford it could happen. Definitely in Manchester, where I'm from, it could happen.
Okay.
If I was to put a gun to your head though now and say, go on, you've got to choose the one thing that we're going to remember you by, what would it be today?
Good question. I've not thought of this. I think he entertained us.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one to end on. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just open it up if you have got any questions. So if you put your hands up and wait for the microphone. And I think if the Madea there on the front.
अस्सलाम वालेकुम वासे भाई मैं रबर बैंड वाली जनरेशन से हूँ
ओए होए
मैंने रबर बैंड देखा है तो इट्स रियली लवली टू मीट यू आई एम आल्सो एन एक्टर मेरा सवाल ये है कि इन रीसेंट इयर्स केक और जॉयलैंड मेरी फेवरेट मूवीज़ रही हैं बिकॉज आपने बोल्डनेस की बात की एंड ऑफ कोर्स बोल्डनेस डजंट हैव टू बी अबाउट स्किन शो इट हैज़ टू बी अबाउट द आइडियाज़ हम आइडियाज़ चैलेंज करें आपको लगता है कि अभी हमारे पाकिस्तान में इज़ देयर पोटेंशियल कि हम मोर वुमेन ड्रिवन मोर सोशली ड्रिवन कंटेंट बना सकते हैं एंड जस्ट टू फॉलो ऑन हम राइटर्स पे इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं क्या
हम बिल्कुल बहुत ज़्यादा कंटेंट बना सकते हैं बिकॉज अब तो देखें आई एम गोना से दिस इन उर्दू क्योंकि हमें अब तो इतने आपके फिल्म स्कूल्स खुल गए और आपका कल्चरली एक आपके बच्चे बच्चियां जो हैं वो यूनिवर्सिटीज़ जाना शुरू हुए हैं जब हमने शुरू किया तो उसमें कोई डिग्री भी नहीं थी अब तो फिल्म मेकिंग की डिग्रीज मिल रही हैं आपको आप पढ़ सकते हैं सो ऑफ कोर्स जब इस किस्म का एक कल्चरल शिफ्ट आता है तो पूल आपका जहाँ से आपके पास एस्पायरिंग राइटर्स डायरेक्टर्स आ सकते हैं वो बहुत बड़ा हो गया ठीक है तो एक तो पहला आपका इससे सवाल का हिस्सा जो था कि बहुत चांसेस है अब ठीक है दूसरा जो आपका हिस्सा था वो आपने दूसरा सवाल जो पूछा वो क्या था कि
जो हम बोल्डनेस की जो बात कर रहे हैं
जी
फीमेल ड्रिवन
आपने जैसा कहा तो बहुत ज़्यादा हाँ राइटर्स का आपने कहा था राइटर्स को देखें जी मेरा मानना है राइटर्स के लिए चांस बहुत है क्योंकि इतना कंटेंट अब बन रहा है फ्रॉम डिजिटल टू चैनल्स एंड एवरीथिंग मगर राइटर्स को नर्चरिंग उस तरह नहीं हो रही राइटर्स को रॉयल्टीज़ मिलनी चाहिए जिसके ऊपर मैं बहुत ज़्यादा हेल बेंट हूँ मैं अकेला ही हूँ सिर्फ एक्टर्स की साइड से बाकी राइटर्स बेचारे बोलते हैं तो मेरा वो मानना है क्योंकि जब तक आप राइटर्स को रॉयल्टी नहीं देंगे दे विल कीप गेटिंग बर्नड आउट एंड वेरी क्विकली राइटर लंबा ही अपना करियर तब करता है जब उसको एक रॉयल्टी मिले और वो आगे भी चले वरना वो फिर 4-5 साल के लिए जिस तरह होता है ना वो आप जब वो दिए में बहुत तेल डालते हो फड़फड़ाता है वो बहुत लाइट देता है उसको बेचारा बुझ जाता है वो होगा अगर आप रॉयल्टीज़ नहीं देंगे जी
Okay, and if we can try, just be recording this so people could listen to it after, so not everybody can speak Urdu Punjabi.
Okay, I'll try to get it.
So yeah, just try now.
Welcome to Bradford.
Thank you.
Yes. So I was lucky enough to spend a couple of years Lahore mein 90s mein. So aapki jo obviously movies at that time, cinema mein hui, there's a gap aaya. And now of course, aapki jo full mashallah, hui hai. So how do you see a revival or the future of the cinema in Pakistan, going forward? Since of course, the jo success hui hai aapki movies ki or other movies as well. Mola Jet Farah, to aage abhi, how you see the future, overall in Pakistan, albeit, Lahore, Karachi, different Peshawar, all this?
I'll tell you, I think the revival, the word revival is, we're done with 2007, it was a marketing gimmick that was used, and then everyone kind of, kept on playing on that. It's just like when you keep on hearing the word moderate, it was coined in 2004 at that era, and then we keep on listening to that, So anyway, the revival is done sort of, but we need to have Pakistani films, and we at least need to have 40 to 50 films a year. Till the time that number is not touched, we are not really going to be able to sustain a Pakistani cinema industry. We need to have that. We need to have either that, or we need to have Indian films running in Pakistani cinemas. Because there are 52 weeks in a cinema in a year. You need to have a cinema house, a theatre house, has to have a film every week, a new film. So 52 is the bare minimum. We in Pakistan right now are only at 20 films a year, which is not a good enough number to run a business. So we need to have those number of 52 films. And there's a lot of debate that goes on between Indian films being open in Pakistan, and I've always been saying that till the time you can't make it, then you have to buy. If you can't, manufacture cars in your country and your demand is there, then you got to import the cars. It's simple as that. And every Hollywood film doesn't work in Pakistan. Not every Hollywood film is Marvel. People don't watch the normal Hollywood films that come to. The ones which do business are Mission Impossible, Fast and the Furious, Marvel, all that. The rest of the films, they don't do business. So it's simple. You will have to have those 52 films somehow. Either another great initiative has been done recently by the government, where Maryam Aurangzeb, Sahiba, the Information Minister, has taken off a couple of taxes and has exempted some taxes for the film industry for the next 5 to 10 years, if I'm not wrong. I think that's a great initiative, but now it's up to the filmmakers to make films. The government has done their bit. Now make films and take advantage of.
Are the scripts there, or is the money not there?
I think it's kind of at the money stage right now.
Yeah.
I feel. At this stage, it's the money stage.
Is it because there's not enough of
I think it's because
return?
the COVID lag as well is kind of played in. The COVID thing also kind of damaged us really bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got another question?
Question G.
No. Do you want to wait for the microphone, please? Yeah.
Hi, yeah. I don't really have a question, but I just wanted to say that I was introduced to Aini Ki Aayegi Baraat, and I was just like blown away, and I'm really impressed to hear that you'd never been here. How you depicted that boy from England with the, and I was just like sold, and then I watched everything that you've ever written, so
Thank
well
you.
done. Really relatable.
Thank you. It's very kind of you.
Any questions?
सबसे पहले तो आपको खुशामदीद।
बहुत शुक्रिया।
आपसे पहले भी मिल चुके हैं, 2-3 दफ़ा आपकी फिल्में भी देखते हैं। बस ये जानना चाहते हैं कि कब यहाँ आके यहाँ के लोगों को लेके फिल्म बनाएंगे, बस ये मैं जानना चाहता हूँ।
कब आप बुलाएंगे?
सच्ची बात है।
कब आप बुलाएंगे?
नहीं, हम तो नहीं बुला सकते। अगर बुलाना चाहे तो हम खुद कर सकते हैं, मगर हमारे पास इतना अफोर्ड नहीं कर सकते। I'm 71-year-old man। मैं आपको पता है मैं स्टिल काम कर रहा हूँ
माशाल्लाह।
अभी पाकिस्तानी फिल्मों में काम करता
बिल्कुल।
हूँ। अभी 3 महीने पहले यासिर का एक ड्रामा पूरा करके आया हूँ।
जी।
तो कर रहा हूँ, मगर यहाँ जो मुझे काम मिलता है बहुत थोड़ा मिलता है। तो आप लोग कुछ करें ना।
नहीं बिल्कुल इंशाल्लाह।
आप लिखते हैं, वो होस्ट भी करते हैं।
जी।
खलील रहम। अच्छा, इस दफा कौन सी फिल्म लगी है आपकी? कोई लगी है?
अभी एक
तेरी मेरी
कहानियाँ जी वो लगी हुई है।
हाँ बस। तो मैं आपको वेलकम करता हूँ। तेरी मेरी कहानी भी आज देखेंगे। बस याद रखिएगा।
नहीं बिल्कुल इंशाल्लाह। बस आप सिर्फ एक बार पाउंड नीचे आने दो जरा।
बहुत शुक्रिया, बहुत शुक्रिया।
Oh, got a question over there, yeah.
Thanks so much for running through your life experiences. It's been absolutely fascinating. I've got 2 questions for you.
Sure.
I'm Punjabi, so we give us a chance. We don't stop. So the first question I've got for you, if you were revisiting and re-looking at the moments you've actually had in your life with film, media, etc., and you could do things differently, what would you do differently? So that's the first one. And the second question I have is in regards to, similar to what you've just been asked, if you have aspiring actors or film producers that are over here in the UK, and they want to connect with Pakistan and connect to a wider audience. What advice would you give them to really take the opportunity? How would you say to go about that?
Well, for the first part, I don't know if I can redo. I think whatever mistakes even you do, they are part of the learning, or you become a byproduct of that, I guess. So I don't know if I would really revisit and change something about it. The second thing that you said about, what they... I think you need to really be confident about your story. Be confident about your story, but think about it realistically as well. That what's the average that this story can achieve from, because if you're targeting a Pakistani audience, because I think at times I feel that people overshoot with their idea. An idea excites you as a creative, and then you overshoot your expectations. And when those expectations are not met, then you get disappointed. Like I was just telling you that when Jackson Heights came, it was not a commercial success. So that's a thing that I accepted. And there and then I accepted. But I never expected it that it was going, because I knew it was not going to become a Dolly Ki Aayegi Barat.
But that's the long tail, though, isn't it? That's what I was trying to get at earlier on. We're living in a digital world now where you don't necessarily have to have a hit on original transmission. It can be watched 20 years. I mean, I watched Friends when it came out.
Yeah.
Right? My daughter, who's 23, is
everyone
obsessed
still
with Friends.
watches it, yeah.
She loves Friends now.
No, but my point is, according to what he's saying, that, what can work in Pakistan, I was just trying to address that part. That you don't know what's going to work in Pakistan. Similarly, I don't know what's going to work in UK. You can have probabilities that, from past experiences that thing worked or this thing worked. But just believe in whatever story you're making, but don't overshoot with the expectations. Just keep them in check, that I'm giving my best shot. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, it's okay. That's what I'm trying to tell you. So, then you don't get disappointed that much. I feel a lot of times, people that they keep on working on idea, and then if God forbid doesn't work, they're like, we didn't work and the market was bad and the audience is this, and you start looking for blame to be put somewhere. All of it. That part shouldn't happen.
I think he was asking about aspiring actors. How do aspiring actors connect with film?
They'll have to come to Pakistan. Where in Pakistan? You see, films, I wouldn't suggest that you come for films. Come for the main, the television drama thing. Because that is a bigger market that is happening more often. Films are not happening that much. When they get made, then it takes a lot of time. And then wherever, it's not Karachi, it's not Lahore, wherever the film is set. I mean, last film I did was London Nahi Jaunga. That film was shot in Bahawalpur. And the other half was shot in London and in Turkey. So where did Karachi or Lahore go in that? So you see, film is location-based primarily. But otherwise, if you're saying as an actor, I would suggest that you come to Karachi and do a lot of television and explore opportunities over there, because that's also good groundwork for you to realize that, because when you do a TV drama, you do 26 to 30 episodes, and if you get 5 scenes in every episode even, so that means that that's almost 40, 50 scenes, and in 40, 50 scenes, you will get to exercise your expressions 40 to 50 times and explore your expressions. There's a lot of detailed cycling that goes into it, like, your expressions, your muscles, your facial muscles, how does your eye operate, what expression does your eye give, what scene is going to demand what kind of expression. So I think it's a good playground for that you can get to learn that how does my face work. We think that our face works very, the way we imagine it or the way we see it in the mirror, but when we are given a certain fictitious scene, you might not have been in that situation ever in your life. You might not have been a farmer in a remote village in Sindh who's, going along with the cows and whatever. So how I can't practice it because I've never been. So either I'm going to go and do research, live there, try to do some kind of, that method acting stuff. But for that even, I'll need to exercise my... So I think going through this drill is what's important. And for that, I would suggest that television has more opportunities as compared to film. Well, thank you.
Right, well, I think unfortunately we've come to the end now. It's been an absolutely fantastic conversation. I'm sure you can grab him afterwards as we try and escort him out of the property. But I just want to say a round of applause for Vasay Chaudhry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to support the festival, please subscribe, share this episode with others and leave a rating. Don't forget to mark your calendars as the Bradford Literature Festival returns for its 10th year from 28th of June to the 7th of July 2024.